When you first open the example company, you will see Amanda's dashboard. In the dashboard, you can display all sorts of useful information, and the view that we have here at the moment, you can see your top customers. This is done by value. You can see your top suppliers, same method, and also top creditors and debtors. Further up, you can see there is an option that allows you to quickly create a customer invoice from the dashboard and also a supplier invoice. You can change and personalize the dashboard if you click on the Add Widget function, and this displays all the possible options that you can have on your dashboard and even how many columns you want to display. The menu structure in Amanda is very simple and easy to use. At the top, you will see a menu bar, and the menu structure is very similar to other programs that you will have used. So for example, if you see a chevron, you will know that if you click on that option, another menu will appear, whereas if you click on an option without a chevron, you will be taken into that option. And Amanda uses a tabbing display. So for example, if I now went to company information, you can see that you can go back to tabs that have been previously opened by just clicking on the top there. Also at the top, you will see a logo, and I'll explain in a minute where that comes from, and also the Getting Started screen. Now, this is quite a useful option for the new user because it will give you tips on what you need to do to get going. It gives you access to our support center and so on. To close it, you can just click on that little X there. You can also click on the X button to log out of Amanda. So let's take a look at some of the menu options. First of all, we're going to look at the company and company information. Now, this area contains all the key information for the company or the business. So, for example, you can see the company's name, the main contact at the company, and then on this side you can see the address and email and so on. So the way Amanda works, if I wanted to add another email address, wherever you see one of these little plus buttons, you can actually add another record. It uses drop downs. So for example, if I want to put a home email address in there, and then to enter data, just click in the field until you see this little yellow highlighter around, and that tells you that you're editing the field. .com. And then just click off and save the record. Similarly, if you want to delete something, if you just click on that, it will get rid of it and save. Now, the address that appears here will be used on documents, and you can have multiple addresses if you so wish. To move to the next tab, this is the map, and this will pinpoint the address depending on the postcode that you've entered in here. Now, this can be particularly useful because this facility also exists for customers and suppliers as well. The Login tab contains details about the user. So this is the master user for the company. There's a login user name. This shows you the areas of the system that that particular user has access to. And if I click on the Change Password button, a password screen will come up where the password can be changed. Now, Amanda allows you to set up different access rights depending on the type of user, and you will find in the help documentation full details as to what each of these different settings can do. So at the moment, this is the master user, and he does have access to all the features that are currently available. This is a very useful little feature, the login link, because what that enables you to do, for example, if you right click on it and copy link address and go into a new tab, paste and go, you can also access Amanda that way. All you need to do is put in the password. So using this facility, you can save it to your bookmarks. Amanda account, this shows you information regarding the company. So for example, it shows that we've got 252 transactions, 76 contacts. The legislation is UK legislation. The product, there are 3 different levels of Amanda. Amanda Premium is the most sophisticated, and there is a pricing structure according to which of the various product types are selected. And for more information regarding this, you can either take a look at our website or contact us and we will explain more about that. In the company settings, this is where, for example, if Amanda was being used by a business who had an accountant who was also using Amanda, you can link the two together by reference to an accountant's name in there. Company registration number goes in there. You can specify how you want dates to appear. The default here is dd.mm.yy, and if you click the drop down, you'll see that you can change it. In the Financial VAT tab, this is where your VAT number is stored, and if there is a VAT number there, then the VAT number will appear on all invoices. Now, some of these other settings here are all to do with the way the template for this company has been set up, and there is no real need to change anything. However, when you purchase Amanda, if you do want to change any of these options, then we would suggest that you either speak to your accountant, or you can always contact us and we will assist you wherever we can. Customer tab, now this allows you to set up defaults for your customers. So this is generally speaking to do with invoices and so on. So for example, what we've got here, this is a default email text that will appear on all quotes or offers or proposals, whatever you want to call them, that will go out to your customers. And there is also similar options for orders, deliveries. On the Invoices tab, you'll find that there are quite a lot of options available. You don't need to change any of these options, but if you want to, for example, you could change the default payment terms. At the moment, it's 21 days, and that will be used to calculate late payments and so on. You can select whether or not you want to be able to modify the VAT amount that Amanda calculates for you. You can also in here set the default text again to appear in emails. Statements, again, you can set a default to go with the email, and you can also set various defaults regarding periods between statements and whether you want by default to print them or to email them. Payments, again, you can select how you normally receive payments, and in this case we've selected bank transfer. And all documents, this is just where you can put in details of the rounding account you want to use. Very similar for suppliers, again lots of defaults, payments, documents, but probably the most interesting one is this tab, logos and layouts. Now you may have noticed up here there is a little logo. That's the administration logo, which will appear on Amanda itself, and it will also appear on certain internal reports. Now the document logo, this logo appears on your invoices, and on this particular screen, the printout screen, this is a WYSIWYG display of how your invoice is going to look. So this is the logo that has been uploaded, and what we've done with this particular logo, we've uploaded a logo that includes the name and address of the company there. Now using this screen you can change the settings. So for example, the logo is set to the right. If you wanted to, you can change it to the left, and it will instantaneously show you the impact of the change. I'm going to put that back to right. You can make the logo bigger or smaller just by changing the number in there. You can change the position, the start and left position of the address block here, so you can make it fit your window envelopes. Payment method again is there, and down the bottom, this area, you can change what appears. Now at the moment the address will not appear because we've put it in the logo, but if I click on there, you will see the address has appeared down there, and all you need to do to play around with these is just switch them on or switch them off. Again, at the bottom there is this area here, which if you put in some text in the footer, that will appear on the invoice. Preferences, now this is primarily to do with the fact that you can have lots of users on Amanda. So these are the preferences for the master user, but each individual user could have their own preferences. And the sort of things that we've got here are, for example, you can decide whether you want to show the dashboard when you open Amanda or not. On the company side, financial side, customers, all sorts of defaults. Now this is quite an interesting one on the customers here. The way Amanda works, it has a process by which if you choose, you can create an invoice, you can save it, you can validate it. But most people, particularly in smaller firms, choose to validate the invoice on save. Other organizations will have an invoice created by, say, a more junior person and then validated by a manager. For the Amanda accounts, only validated invoices will be taken into account numerically. Payments, again, payments can be validated on save and so on, and exactly the same settings for the suppliers. So that is the first important area to consider in Amanda: company information. The next part of Amanda that we're going to have a quick look at is the accounting menu. And from here, we can see all the various options. So first of all, the chart of accounts. This is where you can create and modify the standard chart of accounts, which come with the template company. So I'm not going to dwell on these too much because obviously this is quite a technical area. And if you do want to modify the chart of accounts, we would suggest that you contact your accountants, your bookkeeper, or us before you do so, unless you are very financially aware of accounting structures. The next option on the accounting menu, chart of accounts menu, is payment accounts, and this is where you can set up all your various bank accounts. And for example, this account here is the one that's going to appear on invoices. So if you want the name and address of your bank account to appear on your invoices, you need to put the name and address up here. You can also drill down, and wherever you see one of these links in Amanda, you can always drill down to further levels of detail. So if I click on here, you will see that this screen is showing all transactions relating to your bank statement in December, and you can see which ones have been reconciled and which ones haven't been reconciled. The next option that we're going to look at is again on the accounting menu, and this time we're going to have a look at journals. Journals can be created either manually, and in this particular case these are all manual journals, and you can see that from the manual there. You can also show journals that have been created by Amanda, and these ones have been created by a customer invoice. So for example, if I click on here, this will take me to the journal that has been created from a particular invoice, and if I click there, you can actually see the invoice itself. And again, this is the drill down facility that I mentioned before. If you want to create a new journal, all you need to do is to click into the new journal screen, and then using double entry, you can enter details of the debit account, the credit account, and so on. On the accounting menu, the next option is customers, and this is where you can see there are options to look at your existing customers. We've got a customer list there, and again we've got some filters at the top here. So for example, if you wanted to look at all customers who were in London, all you need to do is type that in there, click refresh, and it will filter out. To clear the filter, just delete it, click on refresh again. And again, using these links, you can drill down to the customer, and this is where the address is quite useful. I mentioned before, there's the postcode of this particular customer, and if I click on the map, it will show you the exact positioning of that customer's address. We've got various other options for customers along here. Third party is very useful because it allows you to set up specific defaults for this customer. So for example, if this customer's payment terms were actually 45 days, you can change that here, and then when you generate a new invoice for that customer, it will use those payment terms. And in fact, we can have a look at customer invoices now. So these are all customer invoices that have been created. The ones that are in grey, these are draft, and the ones that are in blue are validated. The difference between validated and draft is validated invoices will appear in the profit and loss account, for example, whereas draft ones don't. And if I wanted to create a new invoice now, if I go into this customer, you can see this is the default date of the invoice, which is today's date, and this is the default due date, which references back to the payment terms. It's very easy to create an invoice. All you need to do is to either enter the customer name, or if you've done it from the customer, it will default automatically, and then you can put a subject in, you can just tab across, and it will take you to all the various fields where you can enter the details. And I'm not going to dwell on this too much at the moment. To close it, just click there. That's effectively deleted it. To create a new customer, you can either click on Customers New, or from an existing customer, you can click New there. And this will allow you to create a brand new customer. Now, when you create a new record, you can see these little boxes up here. You can have somebody who can be a customer, a user, a supplier, or all three. And the default will be taken from wherever you are when you clicked on the new option. As far as creating invoices, if you click on the customer invoice menu, you can see you can click new customer invoice, you can create a batch invoice, you can look at the customer invoice list, and you can look at your aged balance as well. We'll just take a quick look at the customer invoice list. The list will display for all invoices, and we've got the options at the top here to print the list, create a new customer from here. You can export the customer list. You can show various fields or various invoices even, depending on the filters that you put here. So for example, if I were to click on closed, if there are any invoices that have been deemed closed, and these have been deemed closed because they are fully paid, it will change the display. So for example, if I select that off and select that off, it will just show my blue validated invoices. So you can play around with that. You can sort or filter by date, from and to date, and you can also sort by columns. So anywhere you see these little chevrons here, it means that you can actually sort. So this is sorting in reverse alphabetical order of the customer name, number. You can sort on date, and so on, which can be quite useful when you're looking for a specific invoice. One thing also to mention is, because Amanda's using a browser, I've got Chrome and I've got a find facility, so you can also use the find to find a specific invoice on a page, which is particularly useful if you've got a whole load of invoices that go greater than one page. Again, looking at the customer menu, we can print statements from here, and we can also enter in receipts. So for example, if I click on new receipt, what this will enable me to do is to select from a whole list of open invoices, and I can say which particular invoices, by clicking there, moving them up, have been paid. And if I were to validate those payments, Amanda would automatically generate a record of that payment. You can also enter payments directly. In the invoice itself, there is a receipt tab, and in this particular example, a payment has been made, not the total amount. If I want to add another payment, if I just click on here, it will assume the balance is being paid, and if it's only a partial payment, you just overtype that and then press save, and it will change the amount paid down here. Again, from the accounting menu, you can see there are also very similar options for suppliers. There's the suppliers list. You can add suppliers. You can enter invoices either individually or batch. You can show a supplier invoice list and also aged balance. And as with the receipts, you can also enter new payments and access the payment list. So back to the accounting menu, where you can see all the VAT options. The rates and the codes are all set up for you. These are two reports. The most important option is the VAT periods. And from here, you can see the type of VAT scheme that you're on. So we have cash, standard, which is accruals basis, or none. You can print detail reports and summary reports, and you can also print the VAT return itself, which will be printed in PDF format, which I should just pull across here. So you can see that this is to enable you to go and put the details in online. Other reporting options on the accounting menu are under here. We have a trial balance, balance sheet, and profit and loss, which I'll show you now, and they all work in a very similar way. So this is the default view of the profit and loss account. If you click display accounts, you can actually see that the various titles will be broken down into the various accounts, and if you display numbers, it will show the actual account number for the relevant accounts. And if you want to drill down and see, for example, how that's made up, if you just click there, you can see there's the balance, and at the moment it's only showing details from the beginning of the month. Again, by changing these dates, you can filter what is actually shown up there. So that's the profit and loss. So the balance sheet works in a very similar way. Accounting periods, this is where you can see your accounting periods, but the way Amanda works, you very rarely have to actually do anything with accounting periods. So the last area I'm going to show you is the sales process. What Amanda allows you to do is you can create proposals, you can create sales orders, you can create delivery notes, or you can create invoices. But there is actually a little process behind this. So for example, if I click on new proposals and I select a customer, and all I need to do is put here is, and what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use the catalog facility. I have got a catalog set up, which can be done from the company catalogs option. And if you set up a catalog, you can select catalog of sales activities and you can set up article types. And what will happen is the data will automatically be entered onto the invoice for you. And all you need to do in this particular case is to enter a price, and that's it. Now that's a quote. On these options here, you can see you can validate, you can print, you can create a new proposal. But if I click on actions, what I'm going to do, let's assume that that proposal has been accepted. And the next thing we want to do is we want to create an invoice. And what Amanda will do, it will take your proposal and using the data in the proposal, it will create an invoice for you. So as you can see, all you need to do is make any changes. And let's say perhaps the price was dropped. And then if we save that, what I want to show you is the links tab. So if I click on here, you can see that this invoice was created from a proposal, and that's the proposal document. That little tick means that it's been accepted. And to print any of these documents, if I go print PDF, we'll print a PDF version, which you can see over here with all the standard text on that we've set up, or I can email it. So if I set print email, and this is where the defaults that we looked at right at the beginning of this demonstration come in, and then all you need to do is click send, and Amanda will send that invoice off to the email address that you've entered for the customer. Going back to the action buttons up here, as you can see, you can create from a proposal, you can create a sales order, delivery note, and so on. If you were to create, for example, an invoice, duplicate. Now this is a really useful way of dealing with recurring invoices. All you need to do is to pick your invoice and then duplicate it. Now if for some reason you need to set your invoice back to draft, say for some reason you need to change it, just click on here. And providing there haven't been any payments entered, you will be able to then amend your invoice. So the last thing I want to show you is the help facility. So if we click on help up there, you will see that there is a lot of information. We've got at the top, we've got details of any new releases, any new features that have gone in there. We have numerous user guides, and we also have lots and lots of videos. So for example, if you wanted to just how to create an invoice, if you click on here, you will be able to access the video relating to that particular topic. You can also submit support requests using the Amanda Help system, and if you've already logged in, you can check any other requests as well. So that is an overview of Amanda using the example company. I could probably show you much more, but for the moment I'm going to stop here. If you have any queries, please don't hesitate to get in touch and we will do our best to answer your questions. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video.